welcome back. It's time for my next guest. He is pure class, whether on stage or screen. It is the fabulous Sir Michael Gambon. Come and sit down and relax. And I think that was the David Guetta walk-on remix they did by mistake. Hey, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan.
My socks?
I love your socks.
Yeah, good.
You're very dapper. You got it going on.
I did it special for tonight.
Are you a dandy yourself?
No, I'm normally dressed in rags, but you're coming on here tonight. So
you made the effort.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm thrilled to have you because I know you don't often do these kind of shows.
Well, I'm too shy. So tonight I'm just taking a risk.
Well, I'm thrilled you are. We'll go as gently with you as we can. I've read a lot of interviews over the years, and sometimes I've read stuff which I'm not entirely sure
is true.
Is true.
Yeah. I do terrible lies, usually.
What kind of tales have you told?
Well, I don't know. I once told an interviewer that I was a dancer at the Royal Ballet. And he said, "How long?" I said, 3 years I danced at the Royal Ballet. And after the third year, I fell off the stage and fell through the kettle drum. So they're the sort of lies I tell, childish lies.
Why do you tell them?
I don't know, just for the sake of it. Like now, I never know what to say, so I just say tell lies.
So you make something up?
Yeah.
OK. I first probably became aware of you, I'm sure like a lot of people, TV work, when I saw you in The Singing Detective. Yeah. How was that working with Dennis Potter? How was that experience?
Great. I hardly knew him. He said to me, I was very anxious because he's an intellectual man, so I didn't really know him, and then he said, "You don't speak to me, do you?" I said, "No, I don't know what to say, Dennis." He said, "Well, what's your interest in life?" I said, "Well, I like motor cars." So every time I met Dennis Potter after that, he'd say to me, "Have you seen the new Ford Anglia, Michael?" Like taking the piss. You know? So I didn't really know him well.
You know, when you made Singing Detective, did you think it would be a hit? Because it's such a strange and dark...
I remember the director asking me on the bed that day, when I played most of it in bed, didn't I, with that word? Yeah. He's saying, "Do you think this is going to be a hit?" I said, "I don't know. I had no idea. It all seems so broken up when you shoot it." Yeah. So, anyway, it was.
It was huge, of course, and it's still kind of... I don't know if people have still seen it, but we haven't even get it on DVD. It's an incredible... But I would have thought quite an uncomfortable experience with that makeup on the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, I've got black hair. That's about 25 years ago.
25 years ago. I've got a clip, I'm going to show you now, of something even earlier than that. I was going to show a clip from that, but I thought when you see that out of context, it kind of diminishes it. You can't really see that. But it's a clip from... You're in one of my favourite British horror movies of the 1970s. I don't know if you remember making The Beast Must Die.
Oh, don't mention that.
Yeah, well, come on, it's a cracker. It's got Peter Cushing in. This is Sir Michael Gambon way back when.
It's the worst film I've ever made.
Where were you going?
I was going to the village.
You were trying to escape.
You don't really believe that one of us is a werewolf?
I certainly do.
And you think it is me?
It's a possibility.
Jan, pick her up.
That's a brilliant...
That was how they did it back then. Oh, dear.
That's the best I've ever been.
No, but, you know, it looked like... I imagined that was a lot of fun to make.
Well, it was hard to make because I kept laughing all the time. They got rid of me. I couldn't keep a straight face.
It's the least convincing werewolf I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But now I imagine you've reached a whole different audience with the Harry Potter films.
Oh, yeah. I've been on... I think I was 7 years on those.
Wow.
I took over the part, and they've been the greatest years of my acting life, really. They've been fantastic.
In what way, though? Because it's not the most challenging role, I would have thought.
No, it's quite simple, really. I just copied Richard Harris, put a different costume on, and then towards the end, J.K. Rowling said that I was gay. Yeah, well, Dumbledore was gay.
She outed Dumbledore,
She outed me and apologised. She wrote me a letter apologising for that. So I had to play him gay from then on, but Daniel Radcliffe put a stop to that. So.
You weren't... it wasn't sort of, like, noticeably more camp, I don't think, but there were one or two lines when we knew he was gay, and I remember seeing there was one scene in... I think it was the last one film where you're in a dark cavern with Harry, and you go, "One's out, Harry." And I remember thinking that could be taken the wrong way.
Well, I went like that. I went like that a bit, you know, with a wand.
But what a great cast to work with as well. I mean, some I'm sure you'd worked with in the past, because Maggie Smith, you'd known her for donkey's years.
I've known her since I was 23.
You know, you mentioned Richard Harris. Was he someone, did you hang out with him, with O'Toole, back in the days when they were kind of wild?
I knew them. I knew Peter more than Richard, but, yeah, I hang around in the Buxton Club in the 60s when getting pissed was normal. You don't do that anymore. Well,
it seems that acting is taken more seriously now. I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, it's not so much fun anymore. People are more worried about it all. In the 60s at the National, it was just easier somehow. I don't know.
I've seen Sir Michael on stage. I saw you in Endgame, the Beckett play, where you were with Lee Evans.
Lee Evans, yeah.
Some people would have thought was strange casting, but I get the feeling you got on well.
No, he was brilliant. I was best mates, but he used to plead with me every night not to make him laugh, because he couldn't cope with that. So, but I used to try.
But here's a dark and serious play. You're making him laugh on stage. That's kind of a dangerous thing to do, isn't it?
Well, if you're skilled, you can do it without anyone knowing. The only one knows is Lee.
How would you do that?
Well,
how would you...
Just like... He pushed me around in a wheelchair all night. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've got all sorts of tricks.
So you would pretend to fart?
Yeah.
Under your breath?
Yeah.
And hope to crack him up?
Just to get Lee.
But this is a kind of considered a masterpiece of modern theatre.
It is.
Of course, Beckett.
And we played it as such, you know. We didn't muck about. I mean, I only muck about when we get the back to the audience, then you can have a laugh.
You could mess around.
Yeah.
But you seem to be the go-to guy when people were doing Beckett. You've done an awful lot of Beckett, haven't you?
I've done a hell of a lot of Beckett, and I'm doing one now. I'm just about to start, and we've got we had no bookings for our 4-week run until recently, when we've Eileen Atkins has taken over.
Dame Atkins.
And suddenly the bookings have shot up. Now it's packed out solid.
This sounds intriguing, though.
Yeah.
This it's based on a radio play, or it is about a radio play?
A radio play written in 1957 for the radio. But in this, it's a play on stage. But we've only started rehearsing it, so I'm not sure what's going to happen.
So you're thinking of doing it as if we're watching a radio play, is that right?
Yes, you're watching a radio play. So we're there with scripts. We have to have scripts and microphones, and we're reading the script, and that's all I know so far.
But that must be, in a way, a dream, because presumably...
It could be a bit boring, I suppose.
But presumably you don't have to learn the lines if it's...
No, and that's a relief, you know. I mean, I'm not very good at learning lines now, and I've been in America where they put earplugs in my ear, and so they just play the lines to you over the time.
So they tell you what to say?
Yeah, and you just say it.
That's how Marlon Brando used to work, didn't you? You worked with Brando.
I worked with Brando, yeah. He was great fun. And he would continually muck about by... He was playing a lawyer, a very important lawyer, and he would put a safety pin across his robe, and the people on the stage would say, you can't do that because that's not allowed. You couldn't wear... You know, I want it. Like a kid.
Yeah.
And then, just as the camera rolled, he'd take it out. Great fun.
Well, he sounds like you'd get on well with him.
Oh, yeah. I worked with the Brando, De Niro and Pacino. I've worked with all of them.
Wow.
So that's enough for me.
Do you do accents and stuff like that? Can you do... Because we've got Mr. Guetta, who's French, of course.
Yeah.
And we've got John Bishop, who is a Lilliputian.
Yeah.
Can you do the Scouse, which is a hard accent to do?
I can't do it. I once did a film with Michael Caine in Russia, and I had to play a Russian interrogator, interrogating him. And at the end of the shot, I said, what was my accent like, Michael? Because I was a Russian.
Yeah.
He said, very good. Started off in Russia, drifted over towards Spain, was in Italy at one point, then to France, and ended up in Lewisham.
I can't imagine him enjoying being in Russia, because I interviewed him once and he'd been in Malta, and I asked him what Malta was like, and he said it was f***ing terrible, just courgettes to eat every meal. What was it like in Russia?
Well, in Russia, he used to have food sent over from London to his trailer.
What kind of food?
Ordinary stuff, you know, pork pies and sausages. His wife used to bring it over on Fridays.
And if you had to eat out, did he eat out in Russia?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I once had food with him in a restaurant, and he said to the waitress, who couldn't speak English, he said, I'll have my usual. And I said to her, I'll have what he's having. And she said, 1 steak and chips with no f***ing Russian sauce.
So All That Fall is the play you're in. What theatre is it at, Michael?
All That Fall, the German Street Theatre.
The German Street Theatre on the 9th of October. It's only on for 4 weeks, is that right?
Only on 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks.
And
so
it's
if you want to go...
out.
It's booked out already?
A few spaces, I think. You've got to rush.
OK, well, I'm going to get some.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you get in.
Can I... Can I come and see you backstage afterwards?
No.
Oh. And after that, do you know what you do? Do you have, like, a game plan? Do you have, like, a year or 2 years planned ahead?
No, nothing. I just go from day to day. If I get a job, I'll do it. If I don't know.
Have you been out of work for long periods? I guess all actors
I don't think I've ever been out of work.
Wow.
Very rarely. I'm lucky. But I do anything they ask me to do.
How lovely to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
I
very
would
much.
gladly sit here and chat to you all night, but unfortunately, we've got a French DJ who needs to get the Eurostar home later.
All right.
Great to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Sir Michael Gambon. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Sir Michael Gambon, join us after the break. I'll be talking to the wonderful Emily Blunt. We've still got David Guetta to come and music from Fun, so don't go away.